The radio crackles with controlled urgency. Poseidon 7-2, you have a fast mover closing from your 6 o'clock, 2 miles, and closing rapidly. Inside the Australian P-8A Poseidon, Flight Lieutenant Sarah Chen's hands tighten on the controls as her crew prepares for what intelligence reports would later classify as one of the most significant aerial encounters of the South China Sea crisis. What began as a routine maritime patrol would end with Australia possessing some of the most valuable intelligence data collected in decades, but first, they would have to survive the next 37 minutes. The date is March 15th, and the morning sun reflects off the disputed waters below like scattered diamonds across a battlefield. The P-8A Poseidon, Australia's premier maritime surveillance aircraft, maintains its steady course at 28,000 feet, its sophisticated sensors sweeping the ocean for Chinese submarine activity. This particular mission, designated Operation Coral Watch, represents Australia's commitment to freedom of navigation in waters that China claims as its own territorial sea. But territorial claims written on maps mean little when you're facing two Sukhoi Su-35 flanker fighters climbing toward you at Mach 1.8. The tension in these waters has been building for months. China's 9-line, that controversial boundary encompassing nearly the entire South China Sea, has become a flashpoint where great power competition plays out in real time. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese had authorized increased patrols following reports of Chinese military buildup on artificial islands, specifically Mischief Reef and Subi Reef. These installations, built on reclaimed coral atolls, now bristle with surface-to-air missiles, radar arrays, and fighter aircraft hangars. Intelligence satellites have documented the transformation of these once pristine coral formations into fortress-like structures capable of projecting Chinese military power across hundreds of miles of disputed ocean. What was once open ocean has become a network of unsinkable aircraft carriers, and today, Australia is about to discover just how aggressively China will defend what it considers sovereign airspace. The P-8A Poseidon itself is a technological marvel, a military derivative of Boeing's 737-800 aircraft, bristling with sensors that can detect submarines from hundreds of miles away. Its crew of 9 specialists operates equipment worth over $200 million, including the N/APY, 10 radar system and magnetic anomaly detectors sensitive enough to identify a submerged nuclear submarine by the minute disturbances it creates in Earth's magnetic field. The aircraft's intelligence gathering capabilities extend far beyond submarine detection. However, with electronic support measures equipment capable of intercepting and analyzing enemy communications, radar signals, and data transmissions across multiple frequency bands simultaneously. Advanced cryptographic processors aboard the aircraft can break certain types of military encryption in real time, while sophisticated direction-finding equipment can pinpoint the exact location of radio transmissions from hundreds of miles away. Today, these systems will capture something entirely unexpected. Flight Lieutenant Chen's aircraft is not just conducting surveillance, it's about to become the target of what military analysts would later describe as a deliberate test of Australian resolve in disputed airspace. The first Chinese fighter appears as a radar contact at 42 miles, climbing fast from Woody Island in the Paracel chain. Within minutes, a second contact emerges from the same vector. These are not patrol flights or routine intercepts. The Chinese pilots are following what intelligence reports suggest is a carefully orchestrated escalation protocol designed to probe Australian responses and test the limits of international law in disputed airspace. What they don't realize is that every move they make is being recorded by some of the most sophisticated intelligence gathering equipment ever deployed in the region. As the distance closes, the Australian crew can see their interceptors clearly through the aircraft's observation windows. The Su-35 flankers are impressive machines, twin-engine air superiority fighters capable of sustained supersonic flight and armed with beyond-visual range missiles. Their pilots are members of the People's Liberation Army Air Force's 9th Air Brigade, an elite unit trained specifically for South China Sea operations. These are not inexperienced aviators, they're some of China's best, and their tactics reflect months of planning and preparation for exactly this type of encounter. The psychological pressure on the P-8A crew is immense, knowing that any miscalculation or aggressive move could escalate a tense situation into an international incident. Yet, this pressure also heightens their focus, ensuring that every sensor system operates at peak efficiency during what may be the most important intelligence gathering opportunity of their careers. The lead Chinese fighter begins what's known as a barrel roll intercept, a maneuver designed to demonstrate air superiority while maintaining plausible deniability about aggressive intent. To outside observers, it might appear as routine formation flying. To the Australian crew, it's an unmistakable message: you are not welcome in these waters. But Flight Lieutenant Chun has her orders, and those orders are clear. Maintain course and speed. Continue the mission. Document everything. The P-8A's sophisticated electronic intelligence gathering systems are recording not just the fighter's movements, but their radar signatures, communication frequencies, and tactical patterns that will prove invaluable to Western intelligence agencies. What happens next unfolds with the precision of a chess match played at supersonic speeds. The Chinese pilots execute a series of increasingly aggressive maneuvers, each one carefully calibrated to increase pressure without crossing the line into overt hostility. They close to within 50 feet of the Australian aircraft, close enough that Chun can see the lead pilot's helmet and oxygen mask. The wash from the fighter's engines causes the P-8A to shudder, a reminder of just how vulnerable the reconnaissance aircraft would be in actual combat. But vulnerability, in this case, becomes strength. Every second the Chinese fighters remain in close proximity, Australian sensors are capturing intelligence data worth millions of dollars and months of analysis. The intelligence bonanza begins with electronic signatures. The Su-35's radar, the Irbis-E passive electronically scan array, is one of Russia's most advanced air-to-air detection systems. When the Chinese pilots activate their targeting radars to lock onto the Australian aircraft, they unknowingly provide Western intelligence with detailed performance data that has never been collected outside of carefully controlled test environments. The P-8A's electronic support measures equipment records radar frequency patterns, pulse repetition rates, and signal characteristics that will allow NATO forces to develop countermeasures against this advanced Russian technology. The data reveals subtle modifications to the X-4 variant, suggesting that China has been upgrading the Su-35's electronic warfare capabilities beyond original Russian specifications. In the world of electronic warfare, this type of signals intelligence is worth its weight in gold. But the intelligence value extends far beyond technical specifications. The Chinese pilots' communications, conducted on encrypted military frequencies, are being intercepted and recorded by the P-8A's sophisticated signals intelligence equipment. While the conversations themselves remain encrypted, the patterns of communication, frequency usage, and tactical coordination provide valuable insights into Chinese operational procedures. Intelligence analysts will spend weeks dissecting these recordings, building a picture of how Chinese forces coordinate air defense operations in disputed territory. This information will prove crucial in developing countermeasures and understanding Chinese strategic intentions in the region. The most significant intelligence breakthrough comes from an unexpected source: the fighter's identification friend or foe systems. Modern military aircraft constantly broadcast encrypted identification codes to prevent friendly fire incidents. The Chinese Su-35s, operating in what they consider their own airspace, maintain active IFF transponders throughout the encounter. The P-8A's electronic intelligence systems capture these signals, providing Western intelligence agencies with encryption keys and communication protocols that could prove invaluable in future conflicts. This type of signals intelligence often takes years to acquire through traditional espionage methods, yet here it falls into Australian hands during what appears to be a routine intercept. As the encounter continues, the Chinese pilots demonstrate increasingly sophisticated tactics. They coordinate their approaches to deny the Australian aircraft any clear escape route while maintaining formation patterns that suggest extensive training for exactly this type of operation. Their movements are recorded by multiple camera systems aboard the P-8A, providing detailed analysis of Chinese tactical procedures that will be studied by air forces across the Western Pacific. The footage captures not just aircraft movements, but pilot techniques, formation spacing, and coordination patterns that reveal how Chinese forces would likely conduct air superiority operations in the event of actual hostilities. The visual intelligence gathered includes detailed imagery of the Su-35's external configuration, revealing previously unknown modifications to the export variant specifically adapted for maritime operations in the South China Sea environment. Advanced image analysis later reveals the presence of conformal fuel tanks and specialized electronic warfare pods that suggest these aircraft are configured for extended-range operations far from their mainland bases. The turning point comes when the lead Chinese pilot attempts what intelligence reports describe as a provocative pass, flying directly in front of the P-8A P-8A at extremely close range. The maneuver is designed to force the Australian crew to take evasive action, demonstrating Chinese control over the airspace. But Flight Lieutenant Chun maintains course and speed, her crew continuing to operate their sensors and record the encounter. This decision, made in a split second under extreme pressure, maximizes the intelligence value of the encounter while sending an unmistakable message about Australian determination to maintain freedom of navigation in international airspace. The crew's professionalism under pressure becomes legendary within intelligence circles, with their calm execution of sensor operations during the most dangerous moments of the encounter, ensuring that no critical data is lost to equipment malfunction or human error. The Chinese fighters maintain their aggressive posture for another 18 minutes before finally disengaging, apparently satisfied that they have made their point about territorial claims and air superiority. As the Su-35s disappear toward their home base, the P-8A crew begins the process of securing and cataloging the intelligence data they have collected. The preliminary assessment is staggering. Detailed electronic signatures from advanced Russian radar systems, communication protocols used by Chinese air defense forces, tactical procedures for South China Sea operations, and visual documentation of Chinese military capabilities that had previously been classified at the highest levels. Within hours of the encounter, encrypted data links transmit the intelligence haul to facilities in Australia, the United States, and the United Kingdom. Intelligence analysts from multiple agencies begin the painstaking process of extracting actionable information from electronic signals, communication intercepts, and visual documentation collected during the encounter. The initial assessment suggests that this single 37-minute encounter has provided more detailed intelligence about Chinese air operations than months of satellite surveillance and conventional espionage combined. The data package includes over 47 gigabytes of sensor recordings, electromagnetic spectrum analysis, and high-resolution imagery that will require teams of specialists months to fully analyze and catalog for operational use. Priority classifications are immediately assigned to the most sensitive portions of the intelligence haul, with certain electronic warfare data restricted to the highest levels of military command and shared only with the most trusted intelligence partners. The strategic implications of the intelligence bonanza extend far beyond the immediate tactical value of radar signatures and communication protocols. The data provides unprecedented insights into Chinese operational planning, revealing how Beijing intends to defend its territorial claims through aggressive air patrols and coordinated intercept operations. This information proves crucial for developing defensive strategies and understanding the broader Chinese approach to controlling disputed airspace through military intimidation rather than direct confrontation. The intelligence reveals a level of sophistication in Chinese air defense operations that surprises even veteran analysts, suggesting that China's military modernization has progressed further and faster than previously assessed by Western intelligence agencies. But perhaps the most significant revelation comes from analyzing the Chinese pilots' tactical choices during the encounter. Their maneuvers suggest extensive training for confronting Western reconnaissance aircraft, indicating that China has been preparing for exactly these types of encounters as part of a broader strategy to establish de facto control over disputed airspace. The intelligence data reveals not just current capabilities, but future intentions, providing Western planners with critical insights into Chinese strategic thinking about South China Sea operations. The tactical coordination observed between the two Su-35s indicates the existence of detailed operational procedures specifically designed for intercepting foreign military aircraft in disputed waters, suggesting that these encounters are part of a systematic campaign rather than improvised responses to individual incursions. The encounter also demonstrates the evolving nature of intelligence gathering in an era of great power competition. Traditional espionage methods, while still valuable, are increasingly supplemented by opportunities to collect intelligence during military encounters that fall short of actual combat. The P-8A's sophisticated sensors turn what appears to be a routine intercept into an intelligence-gathering opportunity worth millions of dollars in research and development costs. This represents a new paradigm in which intelligence agencies must be prepared to exploit unexpected opportunities during military operations that were originally planned for entirely different purposes. As news of the encounter spreads through intelligence communities across the Western Pacific, the broader implications become clear. The intelligence gathered during those 37 minutes provides not just tactical advantages, but strategic insights into Chinese military capabilities and intentions that will shape defense planning for years to come. The data becomes the foundation for new countermeasures, improved defensive systems, and enhanced understanding of Chinese operational procedures in disputed territories. Military exercises across the Western Pacific are immediately modified to incorporate the tactical insights gained from the encounter, with new training scenarios designed to prepare air crews for increasingly aggressive Chinese intercept procedures. Yet even as Western intelligence agencies celebrate their unexpected windfall, questions remain about the long-term consequences of such aggressive encounters over disputed waters. The Chinese fighters' willingness to engage in increasingly dangerous maneuvers suggests a level of confidence in their territorial claims that could lead to miscalculation and unintended escalation. The intelligence gathered from this encounter provides valuable insights into Chinese capabilities and intentions, but it also reveals a military force that appears prepared for confrontation rather than compromise in the South China Sea. The final intelligence assessment, classified at the highest levels and shared only among the closest allies, concludes that China views these aggressive intercepts not as isolated incidents, but as part of a systematic campaign to establish air superiority over disputed territories through intimidation and demonstration of capability. This conclusion forces Western strategists to confront an uncomfortable reality. The intelligence gathered from this encounter, while tactically valuable, suggests that China is preparing for conflict rather than seeking diplomatic solutions to territorial disputes. The assessment warns that future encounters may escalate beyond the current threshold of aggressive maneuvering, potentially leading to accidents or deliberate provocations that could trigger wider military confrontation in the region. Today, that intelligence data continues to influence military planning across the Western Pacific, from Australia's enhanced maritime patrol procedures to America's freedom of navigation operations and Taiwan's air defense preparations. The 37 minutes of aggressive maneuvering over disputed waters have provided insights that no amount of traditional intelligence gathering could have achieved. But they have also revealed a Chinese military that appears increasingly confident in its willingness to use force to defend territorial claims that the international community refuses to recognize. In the dangerous game of great power competition playing out over the South China Sea, intelligence victories and strategic defeats often prove to be different sides of the same coin, leaving observers to wonder whether the information gathered that day brings security or simply a better understanding of the approaching storm.